Hello, hello. Hi, Anchor. Hi, Hyder. Good morning, Val. Hey, Jason. Hey, D-Train. How you doing? Hey, Wallace. Hey, Anne. How is everyone doing today? Hope you're all well. It is Wednesday, the 6th of September. Good thing is we did not have any news stream before this session, so we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that tonight with the Bank of Canada's interest rate decision. But it looks like it might be a bit of a non-event, so I'll think about that. They're holding at 5%. How is everyone? Drop a message, say hi, let me know you're well. I'm doing fantastic. I'm on the stream, so I'm doing super, super, super. Hey Steve, how you doing? Hey Kaz, good morning. Hey Lee. It's a bit of a rainy day outside today, so it's good to be indoors. Good to be indoors, good to be doing this daily market analysis together with you guys. Hey BL. Let's give it a couple of minutes before we get started. Robin's in Malaysia, good to see you. Hey Spiros. Just replying to someone in the Discord channel right now. Hey Diana, how you doing? As we wait that 2 more minutes, do help me out. Click that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Do that as well. Click the little rocket ship button on TradingView and that hand clappy thing on trading.live if you can. You know what's really interesting, or not interesting, but interesting to me, is that I'm one person shy on TradingView to hit 18,000 followers. So if you are on TradingView, if you are watching, and if you have not already, click that follow button. That would get me to 18,000 followers. That was a target I set for myself at the start of the year. I thought I would take a whole year to get there. We're in early September and I'm that close. I'm one person away from getting there. So help me out, get me there to 18. But obviously once I get to 18, then I'll aim for 20,000 20,000. I'm never stopping. All right. Hey Eter, how you doing? Hey Lainey, good morning. Hi Da Phantom, Australia. Hey OJ Mids. Thank you Diana. Thanks Vel. Thanks Royds or Naim. It's just it doesn't do anything. Hitting 18,000 doesn't do anything. It's just a number that I want to get to, and then the next number, the next number. It's like our trades. Get one trade, next trade, and next trade, and next trade. All right. Okay, so I hope you're all well. Thank you for taking the time to join me on this daily market analysis. I aim to do this every day, 3 p.m. GMT plus 8. And what I have added on as well is on big news events or significant news events. I will also be doing live streams for you guys. Right now, it's all going to be on YouTube. Possibly as the group grows, we might do a private session on Zoom. We'll see how it goes. But for now, do subscribe to the YouTube, because if at any point in time I just click on the cameras and do a live stream about a news event, it's going to be there. Okay, the link is there as well for anyone who has not joined the Discord channel already. So there it is. That's where you can take our discussions beyond this daily market analysis into Discord. There's a lot of information. My phone is constantly buzzing because everyone's sharing learning objectives, learning ideas, sharing trade ideas, setups. I'm having discussions there as well. In the Discord channel, you also get the link and the chance to jump on a call with me one-to-one so that I can help you with your trading journey. Okay? If you do have any questions at any point in time during this session, please feel free, put it into the chat, let me know. Like some really wise person just said that, let me quote the really wise person that just said that a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So ask a question. There are no silly questions. It's all about learning. We're all here. The market is the boss. So we're all here to learn and share together. Okay, so during this market analysis, what I'll be looking at is the fundamentals, the news that happened, what's coming up. We'll look at technicals in terms of where price is, put that together, look for some possible trade setups on the H1 time frame that we can get into. And as we look at some possible trade setups, a quick disclaimer: any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. Please do your own due diligence, because the contents of this webinar is not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product, and your objectives, financial situation and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. Okay, with that, moving on. Good job, AL. Good to have you on that. I'm on that as well. Okay, hey Zil9090, how are you doing? Good morning. Now, why do I have this? Okay, no, looking at the news first. Moving there. Okay, last night, not a lot happened after the RBA interest rate decision, 4.1%. We spoke about that in pretty much in depth yesterday during the session. We did have some services PMI for the Eurozone, and for the UK, final services PMI came out. This was at 4 p.m. after our session, 48.3. It dropped slightly to a 47.9. While for the UK, it went from 48.7 to a 49.5, a slight increase. We did see some movements on the euro dollar. We did see some movements on the pound dollar, but predominantly the moves were all still driven not because of the services PMI, but more because of the volatility in the dollar index, or the strength, the short-term strength in that dollar in short-term, the continuation of strength on the dollar index. Okay, and then nothing much else, no big surprises all the way through to today. GDP quarter on quarter for the Aussies came out at 0.4%. It was revised up from, here we go, 0.2%. So it got revised up to 0.4 and it stayed at 0.4. And because of that, we did see here on the Aussie, zoom it in a little bit, at 9 a.m. Right, we did see a brief spike up, and then after that, a continuation to the upside. Right, so a stability. So sometimes when you think about the news events, it's not just a change. It's not just a change. Obviously, if you see it, in this case, if it comes out at 0.8, then we're going to see massive upside. Or if you see it at 0.1 or minus 0.1, then you're going to see massive downside on the Aussie. But staying at 0.4, a stability in the number, is also going to bring some strength to the Aussie dollar, right? Some strength to the Aussie dollar. But in addition to all this, it's really how the dollar index was moving as well. Then moving on from that, PMI numbers 430 for the UK. That's going to be interesting if it does come out below 50, right? If it does come out below 50, so it's previously construction PMI for the UK 51.7, expected 49.8. If it does come out below 49.8, we might see further weakness on the pound dollar because it's going from the expansionary phase into the contractionary phase. This is borderline contractionary. So if you see below 49.8, it's going to show a significant slowdown in construction PMI, which could lead to further downside on the pound dollar. So that's building the bias for me on the pound dollar. Not too concerned about the retail sales number month to month for the Eurozone. Then monetary policy report hearings typically does have some impact on the pound, but I think that we might see that lead to some downside on the pound dollar, which we are seeing right now already. And then at 10 p.m., the feature for today, 10 p.m. GMT plus 8, we have the Canadians with their interest rate decision. The Bank of Canada with their overnight rate, which is their interest rate, looking to stay at a 5%, right? Looking to stay at 5%. While if it does stay at 5%, what you want to pay attention to is the rate statement, because someone was sharing something there. Let me see. Right, there we go. Bank of Canada poised to hold rates at 5%, but threatening more hikes. So they might not increase, but they might talk about, in the rate statement, might talk about possibility of further rate hikes. At this point, I don't think that a threat for further rate hikes is going to have that big an impact anymore. We saw that, well, pretty much every central bank is saying the same thing, right? We've paused, or we're looking at further rate hikes depending on data, depending on how the economy develops. So I don't think that, as much as they might threaten, I don't think it's going to have that big an impact on it, right? So what I mean by that big an impact, we might see a spike and then a quick retracement, because for traders who might not be so in tune to it, they'll read the statement and it says could hike rates further in the future. They'd be like, all right, we might buy into it, we might give some strength to the Canadian dollar because of further rate hikes, of potentially further rate hikes. But everyone's saying the same thing. Almost every central bank is saying the same thing. I think that it might spike before retracing back to the current trend. So that's the feature for tonight, with lastly the services PMI, ISM services PMI for the US, 52.7, 52.5. So long as it stays above 50, I think that it's still relatively straightforward for the dollar. Okay, and then looking into tomorrow, not much else until unemployment claims. Again, not much. I think that what will happen, or what we're looking forward to, is after this Bank of Canada news, then we might see some trending development of a trend across the board, and then good trending scenarios through Thursday and possibly into Friday, right? Just looking at the news, I think that we'll see a bit of a trending scenario on Thursday and Friday. Just like to scroll through. Okay, and then we have CPI numbers for the US on the 13th of September next week. So with all that said, then looking at the charts. Good morning, Suleiman. How are you doing? I will do the Euro Yen Lee, I can do that. And good morning, Sarah. How are you doing? Okay, so looking at the charts here, this is the dollar index, what we saw yesterday. Tuesday was at 3 o'clock at that point, right? We were talking about it. Continued strength push towards 104.70. So this was at 3, put in the line there. As we were talking about this, it broke up above that resistance of 104.40, now becomes a support. Push through, went as high as 104, almost 104, well, 104.90 before retracing back down. Take all that away. With that circle I had there, I think I was saying that we're possibly looking at it testing this range right before this session. So I did not get into any trades today. A couple of you were asking if I got into any trades today. I did not, because I was looking at this retracing last night and early this morning retracing back down. So it was a bit of a decision point at this level whether it's going to retrace further or push up towards the next resistance of 105.10. So I've been waiting to see what's going to happen. Now, if you look at this, all right, we have good fib level here, right? 23.6 is right at 102.40, which is where it broke out from. Then if we just tried this one, just come to this point. Okay, so I'll do 2 levels here. Very soon I'm going to clean up these lines because there's just a bit too many lines right now. And by saying too many lines, I've just added more lines again. Okay, there we go. So right now it seems to be holding just above 23.6 on a slightly shorter time frame, while on the larger time frame 23.6 is right at that 104.40 or 45 support level. Is deciding here right now. With no major news events for the US to be released, naturally I was thinking whether the dollar could retrace back down before pushing back up again. Okay, that away. Let me just see if I can get a bigger chart going. So I just want to see the whole thing. There we have it. Okay, and if you looked at this, just testing something out, looked at that as a big channel to the upside. This could work as well. Big channel to the upside. Okay, so I hope you guys can see that channel, and that's why I think that I can put that middle line there as well. Okay, so with that middle line in there, that makes a lot more sense. I'm still thinking that we're going to see further upside on the dollar, pushing higher towards that 105 level, could retrace, test mid-level, test at 23.6 level before pushing up. But as you probably realize already, trying to guess or trying to estimate a retracement or how far it's going to retrace by is a little bit of a guesswork. So what I would say is dollar index could consolidate along 104.70 or retrace, or retrace, I can't type today, to 104.40 right? But overall, I'm looking for strength to 105.10. All right, so that's what I'm thinking. Today is the 6th of September. Let me change that. So that's what I'm thinking could happen on the dollar index. Could sit around this level before pushing up. Right, could sit along here before pushing up, or it could retrace a little bit down to that 104.40 level before pushing back up again with the key resistance level at 105.10. Fair enough. So far, so good. Let me know, let me know. Then, with that, anticipating that upside on the dollar, that's going to paint the buyers for all the other currency pairs. Looking at the Kiwi dollar, yesterday we were looking for it to test and break through that support at of 5850 to trade significantly lower. Did not happen. It did not come down far enough to trigger that, so we can take that away. But if you look at it now, it's tested and rejected this resistance along 0.59. And if I did this, could see why. Right? If we did this, you'll see that it actually tried 23.6. 38.2 is a bit far away, so it's not 38.2. 23.6 is there. That works. So I tried to break out, didn't like it, came back in outside of Bollinger as well. So a lot of you have asked questions about the Bollinger Bands. That is one of the things that I do watch quite a bit. So it's broke out on the 1 hour time frame, closed outside of Bollinger. That's why the next hour we saw it retrace back down. Okay, so with that and expecting the dollar strength, what I would anticipate here for the Kiwi would be to sell down. It's 22 right now. I'm just thinking in terms of the candle close. 5880, tight stop, no more than 25 pips. Take profit 30 pips. I don't like the take profit there. Testing this, checking this level right there. It could go all the way down to there. I think what I'll do is I'll change this to a dotted line to consider as a previous swing, previous here. I'll just show you the chart as an overall. Okay, fits. Oh, it's too much, too far away. Okay, so we're looking at that. I know it is a bit small, just bear with me for now. Looking at this, could come down to this point. A couple of interim levels. That makes sense. That's a big swing level, so I like that one a lot more. And those are a little bit of an interim levels. Okay. So how I look at this is Kiwi dollar breaks down, right? And we're actually looking at quite significant upside here on the dollar index towards that 105.10 level. Could even climb towards 105.4, right? If it does push up, we saw that move already. So I'm anticipating that you could even be looking at that. But why would it move 130 pips with no major news, and no major news on the dollar index, no major news for the Kiwi to push its significant 130 pips to the downside? I would say that 80 pips to the downside, 25 stop loss would be reasonable. Breakdown. fair. Okay, I'll be happy with that. I'll be looking for that. I'll look for that. All right. So breaks down. This is a little bit early because there is an equal low here. Right? There is an equal low here. So it might come down and bounce back up. Grab some liquidity and bounce back up. But I anticipate that it's already pushed up, tested this level. So we might see a stronger push to the downside. Okay. So there we have it. 25 to 80. That's okay. Okay. So 0.585025 to sell. 5880, stop loss 25, take profit 80 to the downside. Obviously, if the dollar just breaks down from this level all the way down, then we'll switch our view. But look at the Kiwi, it is trending to the downside. Take this double top away because it's old, and we'll see that push lower. Okay, all good. Everyone's gotten a little bit quiet, so put it to the chat. Let me know I'm still connected, that it all works, makes sense for you guys. Okay, then on to the Aussie, right? Aussie, same thing, did not trigger to push down. This was early this morning, so it's a little bit too late in terms of the setup already, so we'll take that away. That line there. Thanks, Anchor. Now, if this push down, the main thing, so I like to toggle between the Aussie and the Kiwi. So, giving me the opportunity, I'm looking at Kiwi to the downside. Aussie could go down as well, but I'm thinking that what if the dollar does weaken? Maybe we'll look at the Aussie dollar push back up again. Think about that. This push to the downside. Same thing, very similar to what the did, push down outside of Bollinger. I would say that breakdown, I don't think reasonable to be looking for a buying. And this one, I would probably do a little bit safer. I would say that 30 pip stop loss, 25 pip stop loss, 80 pip take profit to the downside. Why I've moved this, right? So you look at the Kiwi dollar, I'm looking at it as a little bit of an earlier entry, not considering this point because it's a little bit further away. So I'm thinking maybe we could get in a little bit earlier. Alternatively is that maybe you don't get into the Kiwi, you wait a little bit longer for the Aussie to break past that equal low that we have here before getting in. So there's a bit of a higher risk setup, slightly higher risk setup on the Kiwi dollar compared to a slightly lower risk, not saying no risk, but lower risk setup on the Aussie dollar. 6355, stop loss 25, take profit 8. Okay, so 655, stop loss 25. Oh, it's the same thing. Stop loss 25, take profit 8. Same as the Kiwi dollar. Thanks for that, Jason. Thanks, well. Like that. Yeah, okay, I'm happy with that. Then to the US yen. On to the US yen. I did a bit of a couple of quick trades to the upside on the yen. Retrace back down. Why retrace back down? Firstly, dollar index retracing lower, right? Firstly, dollar index retracing lower. That's why we saw the yen push back down. And also, if I can find it, Bank of Japan policy maker sees signs of change in inflationary mindset. Need to continue with easing patiently. This distance to stable inflation. Where was the other headline that we were talking about? There was another headline that they are looking at. There we go. FX moves should reflect fundamentals. See speculative moves in FX. Watching FX, right? This is almost like a copy and paste kind of comment that we've always Bank of Japan or for currency diplomats or from the finance minister, whenever the yen, the US yen gets to that above 145 level, they come up with these statements where FX moves should reflect fundamentals, seeing speculative moves in FX, watching FX with high sense of urgency. All of that, if you connect the dots, leads to the market expecting the Bank of Japan to intervene. Right? Wanda just said that. Does it mean the Bank of Japan might take their intervention? It does not mean that they will intervene. It does not signal that they're going to intervene, but they are talking. The comments, the rumors, the noise, the jawboning about intervention arises once we see the yen above 145, right? Strongly above 145. And that's why we saw that push down. Look at that. That was at 7 a.m. time. Look at that point. Where was it? 7 a.m. at that point. That's where we started seeing the yen push down. Then they start talking about, going to have to maintain ultra easing policy. Then it started pushing lower again. Okay, so very good point there from Diana is that I was looking into the trade on the US yen, but was happy with DXY movement, so didn't trade that. Right, so DXY being a little bit choppy at this point, we're going to see that choppiness maintain on the US yen. Let me take away all of this. So on a kind of fresh chart, and we look at this, anticipating that push, it came right back down, tested 23.6 before pushing back up again. Okay, so it's funny how dip levels work, how it works when I stop shifting things around for. Okay, right, so it came right down, test this level before pushing back up again. What we are possibly looking at here is, again, a little bit of a higher preemptive move. Is we could be looking 147.60, take profits 67 pips, almost 70 pips. Stop loss would 1:1 would be the most reasonable, but I think you could even go for a 30 pip stop for 1:2 to the upside. That makes sense. Okay, I would be happy with that. Right. Just thinking whether this could be a little bit lower. I'm just thinking that maybe, yeah, no, I'll keep it at 147.60. 147.60, 67 pips upside, 30 pips stop loss. All right, so I'm still looking for the upward push, especially with all that talk on, despite all the talk on the interventions, we are still seeing the Bank of Japan say that they have to continue with, um, you know, continue with easing patiently, still looking at that weakness to the upside. Okay, so could even be looking a little bit higher, but if it does push up, then we can look at further upside. So 147.60, 60, ramble on, but let me do it. 147.60, stop loss 30, take profit 70. Or I would say take profit 67, put to round it up to 70. That's what we would be looking for on the US yen, especially given that it's bounced off this support level. I just had a feedback that the audio is a bit low. Let me know if it's not, if it's too low for you guys. I'll try and move it a bit nearer and higher up. Okay, with that, then looking at the pound dollar, it's still, thanks BL, thanks Diana, thanks D-Train, thanks Da Phantom, okay, thanks Anchor. Okay, pound dollar, I'll maintain this view, right? We were talking about this 1.2560 level being super interesting, and if you look at this, it's been consolidating along this support level. Strong, bit of a wide consolidation, but you still see that in terms of price action is consolidating along this level. We were expecting it to break out to the downside, did not happen. At this point, I would be thinking that if the dollar actually breaks down, right? If it does break down from 104.40, then maybe we're going to see the pound dollar push to the upside. I'm going to try and see whether I can delete that. I delete that one away. So yesterday I was thinking that, downside might be the most likely scenario. Right now I'm thinking, and we had this discussion with Diana and Val on this, is that, hey, we might see it bounce from here, given that it did not break down strongly, right? Given that it did not break down, and the way that the pound dollar has been reacting along this 1.2560 level, might see a push back up. But remember that we do have construction PMI to be released in an hour's time, and also the monetary policy report hearings later tonight at 9:15. So what I'm looking at here is possibly the fluctuations within this range, and this is about a 40 pip range, maybe even down to, yeah, for about 40 pip range. So I think that it could just sit around here, but what we might be looking for is if that dollar weakness is going to push the pound dollar up towards that resistance of 90 pips, about 1.2680. Okay, if we see that dollar weakness. So what I'm more tempted here would be buy 1.2585, stop loss 35, take profit 90. Okay, so we actually have that. So buy 1.2585, stop loss 35, take profit 90. That's because of a possible bounce from that, but I would change the reasoning here to say that if DXY weakens, if brain not connecting to fingers to type properly today. Okay. Um, hey, Angel Case, sneaking in at the conference. Good stuff. Tell everyone else in the conference to sneak in to join the session as well. But good to have you with us. Um, hey, Bush, 1G, good to see you. How you doing? Val says, I like the longs on the pound dollar now. Similar entry to yours, Jin. Very good, very good. Doesn't mean that it's good, definitely going to happen, but at least we are aligned. And hey, Val, whenever we align, we know what happens there, right? I think it's going to sit here for a while. I don't think this will be a quick break to the upside. Going to fluctuate along here, but watching out for that possibility. As for me, I'll wait for a daily candle to close today to give me a directional bias. Looking at the daily, China said that. Oh, Diana said that. The daily looks like it might not be today. Looking at the daily candle, it doesn't look like it'll be today for a bounce up. Doesn't even look like today is going to give us a signal. It looks like maybe tomorrow. So it might sit there a little bit today with that doji, that indecision, and then maybe tomorrow start to push back up. But I think that on the H1, that's why I think that it's going to fluctuate along this level for a while more. Okay. Then onto the euro dollar. Okay, Sarah said, I do not understand the Aussie news this earlier morning. The forecast was 0.4. GDP was looking for more than 0.4%, and the actual. Okay, so casting back to the Aussie, the news came out at 0. Well, it was 0.2. It got revised up to 0.4. The forecast was at 0.4, and the actual came out at 0.4. So it was not a it's not a bad news, right? So it's at 0.4, stayed at 0. Expected 0.4, came out at 0.4. Even if it was at 0.2, if it did not get revised up, they're not coming up. Okay, if it did not get revised up, if it stayed at 0.2 and forecast was at 0.4 and it came out at 0.4, that came out as expected, and that's why we saw some push to the upside on the Aussie dollar. Does that explain it a bit better for you there, Sarah? Let me know, let me know. Okay, right. So stability, come out as expected, all good news. No real bad news there to push, um, or no bad news in terms of the GDP quarter on quarter for the Aussie. And yeah, Bell learns what daily time, the short form for daily time frame now. I'm not going to say the abbreviation, but she figured out daily time frame. Okay, Sarah, let me know if that's good for you. Um, then now we look at the euro dollar. Euro dollar went down. I did a quick trade on that. Right now bouncing back up, but what you should notice here is that okay, that's done, let's take that away. As it bounces, that trend line is maintaining prices, right? Took just the tail, even if we took the short-term tail on that, it's still maintaining prices to the downside. If we took that on the euro dollar, even if we took the bodies on that, it's still maintaining price to the downside. So it tested, looks like it might reject and push back down again. So what we're looking at here is possibly further downside on the euro dollar. Can take that away. That's an interim level. Makes sense. What you could be looking for here is that, let me about this as this point. Okay, so I put this as the interim, as a line to consider, then this as a support level. So now coming to the current, looking for this to break down, rejecting that level. If it does turn down, then like this, just a very short term level here. I would be looking for this to push down dollar strength, push this down. Now we could be looking for a sell on the euro, especially if it stays like that and starts pushing lower. I would say 1.0720. A little bit early, but okay. Stop loss can be quite tight, no more than 25. Take profit will be down to 50. Right? And if it comes down to this level, maybe you can even be looking at further downside as well to that 1.0640 support level. Okay, so that's what we'll be looking for on the euro dollar. 1.07, 1.0720, 25, and 50. Then sell 1.0720, 0.0720, stop loss 25, take profit 50. That away. Okay, so now that we have that, then as I think Lee was asking early on, someone was asking. Lee was asking about the euro yen. So we got the view on the euro dollar, expecting it to push down. On the US yen pushing back up, that's a setup that I like to possibly happen soon. Yen, US yen pushing up, some weakness on that. Euro dollar possibly pushing down. Then if we look at the euro yen, it is sitting just above this level of 157, almost 158. So about that support level. Possibly could do, let me do this. Start again. On the euro yen, okay, we have a big support here. Resistance here. And right this, and see that it tested 50, turned back down, so we do have a bit of a level there. So if the yen does push up strongly while the euro dollar sits in a bit of an indecision at this point, then euro yen could push higher. 1.8, quite close. So I'm looking at this as possibly, because we are expecting the euro dollar to push to the downside, look for the euro dollar to push to the downside. So I would ignore any move to the upside for now. I would look for the euro dollar to push down. So I'm looking for this move onto, maybe not so much, but this move onto the euro yen. Okay, so why this move is because for now, euro dollar looks like it's sitting in a bit of an indecision, at an indecision point, while the US yen is looking like it's going to push up. So that's going to lead to the euro yen pushing higher. But I think later on we could see the euro dollar push down. So I think that that's going to drag the euro yen down. Okay, with a bit of a level firstly at 157.77, then finally down to the next, to that support area at 157. So what you could be looking for here on the euro yen is 158.35. Two things you can be looking for here, right? 25 pip stop loss, 50 pip take profit. That's one idea. We'll give you multiple scenarios here. Okay, or you can be looking a little bit more gung-ho. You can be looking for it to test and reject. Then this could give you a tighter stop, again about 25. Then about 80 pips to the downside. This one you could even go down to this point. That could go all the way down. Then, but think about possible exit at about that mid level. Okay, so you can either be looking for to test, reject, sell below this point, or test, reject 61.8, start selling, understanding that there's a bit of a risk that it might bounce from this point, or it could just go all the way down. Projecting it a little bit, I'm just thinking that this point being 23.6, so that's why it's a little bit of a risk, right? If it does come up to that's above 61.8, turn back down, 23.6 will be there, might hold. Okay, so hope that makes sense for you, Lee, in terms of what could happen on the euro yen. Dijan, I just did the pound dollar. The pound dollar still consolidating in that wide range along that 1.2560 level. Has both upside and downside potential, but possibly looking more towards if we see that dollar weakness, then we could see this push up, but downside is pretty much straightforward as well. Almost a 1:2 to the downside. So both up and down opportunities on the pound dollar. All right, fantastic. Thanks for that, Sarah. And as Buba is asking about the pound yen, tested, let's clear this out. Sometimes it might be annoying to keep having to draw lines, but it does help to clean out the thought process. So that's a support, that's a big resistance. Then in this point again, say I like that one, so that's a false breakout, that's a good resistance level. Now that's pushing up because, as we know, pound yen pushing up, so it's going to test, looks like it's going to test that resistance. If the pound dollar does push up, then we're going to see the pound yen push higher. But I think that what you're going to have to do on the pound yen will be to see if it gets to this point, what happens. Yen still struggling a little bit, pound dollar sitting there. So it looks like pound yen is going to sit around here, slowly push up, look for decision or look for price action along 185.80. Okay. So this is, I would say, the whole resistance area that it could come up to this point and look for a, a rejection or breakthrough from that resistance. All right. Okay. Good. Now on to the US Swiss franc. Still trading up. Drag this along. You see that it holds, push price up. Dollar index showing still consolidating along that level, but looking if it does push up, then we're going to see this test that resistance of 8915, and beyond that would be at about 8970. 0.3670. Okay, so push up. Yes, fair enough. Dollar strength is going to push that up. What you could be looking for a continued dollar strength would be 8925. Take profit 40 pips. Stop loss relatively tight at 20, no more than 20 pips, or 1:2. 8925, 20 to 40. That might not my favorite. 8925, 20 to 5. Stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the upside. Hey Jamil, how are you doing? Good morning. Nice to see you. And again, everyone, if you can help me out, big reminder again, click that like and subscribe button on YouTube, TradingView, Trading.live. And if you haven't already, do join us on the Discord channel. Looking at the US CAD, remember that this is the main event for today. Most likely staying at 5%. Pay attention to the rate statement. They are possibly going to threaten further rate hikes, but like I was saying, looks like it might be a threat that what everyone else is saying. Dollar strength is going to push this up. Can take this away. We can take this away as well. So there because of 50%. I would still maintain this view on the US CAD 1.3670 to push up. Right? Might be a bit of a bounce around here, but I'm looking for that to continue up. So I'll maintain that view by 1.370, stop loss 20, take profit 60. Just pay attention to what could happen on the Bank of Canada interest rate. All right. I think that's relatively straightforward. It could reverse from here back down to this support, but I think more likely it's going to push up, especially with that dollar strength. Then talking about dollar strength, we have been talking, there was a lot of talk about this on the Discord channel. Gold, what is gold going to do? What is gold going to do? Head and shoulder break down, spoke about that. Continued down, now it's breaking through this consolidation area to the downside. Now at 1923.44. It's by that. 61.8 is there. Okay, so below 1922 or 1923, then we're going to see further downside towards 1913. Okay, so gold below 1923. Below 1923, which is very close, is 1923.50 now. Below 1923, we could see 1912 or 1913. Could reach 1913, and that's relatively straightforward because we are looking at dollar strength to continue, which it looks like it's breaking out right now. Okay. Most welcome there, Vel. Thanks. I was about to enter sell. Going by your analysis, I will wait to see the reaction. Yeah, I think you better to wait for the reaction along that 106. Alrighty. So with all that said, I will look forward to seeing you guys on the Discord channel. If you have any further questions, do let me know. And If not, I'll see you all tomorrow, same time, same place. For now, trade well, trade safe. Take care now. Bye.